Okay. I'd like to go ahead and get started, if everyone will take your seat. Roll call, we are going to try to use our technology today, so. Well, mine says canceled, so. And while you're logging in, want to welcome today our alternates from the City of Riverside, Chris MacArthur. From Harupa Valley, we have Mike Goodland. And from one more city, Calamasa, Jim Hyatt. And if I missed anybody else, welcome today. Okay. I'm going to ask Eugene Montanez if he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
As we say the pledge today, if we could please remember all those who have had issues around the country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, do we have any public comments?
I have no requests to speak.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any public comments from anyone in the audience? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. And we have our consent calendar, items 1 through P. Through P? Does anyone want to pull any items? Okay.
Parents needs to abstain from 4A.
Abstain from 4A?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair, I needed to also register an abstention on item P, as in Paul, or Philip.
That's the City of Eastvale?
Yes, ma'am. Or Pumpernickel. Either one.
And everybody should be able to register their votes?
Yes. Everybody else, you ready? We have it moved by District 5, seconded by the City of San Jacinto. Please vote if you haven't.
City of Calamasa, please vote. Thank you, sir.
Motion passed 20-0. Next, we have our item for reports. The first one is the PACE program with Casey.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Casey Daly, Director of Energy and Environmental Programs. Today we have 3 requested action items of the committee related to WRCOG's PACE programs. WRCOG's PACE programs provide financing to property owners to install energy-efficient, renewable energy, water conservation, and seismic retrofit improvements to their home or business through an assessment that is repaid on their property tax bills. Start with a quick snapshot of the activity of our PACE programs. As of October 20th, there have been just under 80,000 projects that have been completed at a value of over $1.668 billion. As you can see, solar and heating and air conditioning systems continue to account for the majority of the installations across our program. So today's first requested action item involves accepting the City of Petaluma as an associate member to WRCOG. In 2013, the California Hero Program launched statewide, and to date, 371 jurisdictions are currently participating in the program. On October 2nd, the City of Petaluma passed a resolution to become an associate member of WRCOG, allowing them to participate in the California Hero Program. So today's requested action for this piece includes voting to accept Petaluma as an associate member of WRCOG, to adopt Resolution 45-17, a resolution of the Executive Committee of WRCOG declaring its intent to modify the California Hero Program Report, to increase the size of the program area in which assessments may be offered, and to set a public hearing date for December 4, 2017. Any questions on this? I'd be happy to answer them now before I move on. Okay.
Questions?
Hearing none. So today's next item deals with assessment delinquencies for residential and commercial properties. Just as a quick refresher, PACE liens are placed on the tax rolls as assessments, similar to how community facilities districts or lighting and landscaping districts are repaid through their property taxes. A delinquency can occur when a property owner fails to pay their property tax in full. Since partial payments on property taxes are not permitted, it is impossible to determine whether or not the delinquency is attributed to the PACE assessment or any other factor. The taxes are simply delinquent. For fiscal year 16-17, there were 38,367 residential PACE assessments placed on the tax roll at a value of over $120 million. Of these 38,367 assessments, 237 parcels are currently delinquent. This equates to a 0.58 delinquency rate. And just to provide a little bit of context here, Riverside County's delinquency rate is 1.349%. And to dig into those numbers a little bit more, the delinquency rate in Western Riverside County is 0.67%, and for Eastern Riverside is 1.47%. And finally, about a third of all of the delinquent parcels are located in Western Riverside County. That is primarily due to the maturity of the program. The assessments have been in Western Riverside. We've done the most business in Western Riverside, so it stands to reason that there would be a correspondingly high number of delinquencies. So in 2015, the Executive Committee adopted a policy that calls for an annual review of the number and amount of delinquencies and a determination of the assignment of those collection rights or to begin the judicial foreclosure process. There has been a consistent desire to avoid the judicial foreclosure process on PACE residential assessments, and over the past 3 years, the collection rights for the delinquent residential properties have been sold to Renovate America. At the October Admin and Finance Committee meeting, staff presented the report on the HERO delinquent assessments for fiscal year 16-17, and the committee recommended the deferment of judicial foreclosure on the delinquent properties. And just in case you're following these numbers, you'll notice that what we presented to Admin and Finance was 263, and what we're asking for now is 237. All that means is that from the time we went to Admin and Finance until today, those parcels have come current and so are no longer delinquent. So in case anybody's following the numbers at home. So this is a bit of a snapshot of where we are. As I mentioned, for the last 3 years, Renovate America has purchased the collection rights for residential delinquencies. However, this year has made the decision not to, and as a result, staff is currently working with a third party to purchase those collection rights, and we expect to have a purchase and sales agreement ready in the near future. This slide shows kind of where we are and where we've been. It's important to note, I think, that this year's delinquency rate is lower than last year's delinquency rate, so that's a good sign. All right, so moving on to our commercial assessment delinquencies. For fiscal year 16-17, there were 33 commercial PACE assessments placed on the tax rolls for a total value of just over $855,000. We have a single parcel that is currently delinquent in an amount of $7,548. And Samas Capital has agreed to advance the funds, just like Renovate America has done for the past several years, to advance the funds to avoid judicial foreclosure on that property. So today's requested action on this particular item is to defer judicial foreclosure proceedings and direct the executive director to execute a purchase and sales agreement for WRCOG's collection rights to a third party for 237 delinquent residential parcels and to Samas Capital for 1 commercial property. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? You must have, District 3?
I just would like to get some clarification so that I understand what the requested action number 4 there. We're going to defer the judicial foreclosure proceeding and direct the executive director to execute a purchase and sale agreement for WRCOG's collection rights to a third party. And did I hear you earlier say that who's going to be the third party?
We're currently in negotiation with them right now. We have identified a third party that is working with another one of our PACE providers, and so we're in the process of going through a negotiation with them right now.
Is this a collection agency?
I don't know if I would call them a collection agency.
They don't break legs.
They don't break legs. They're not offering loan shark rates either.
All right. I don't want us to come out of this with a black eye.
Absolutely.
I understand people need to deal with the consequences of being delinquent.
Yes, sir.
But, I think we owe all of our constituents the best effort to make sure that we are not harming them in a greater way than the value of the delinquency.
Yes, sir.
That makes sense.
Absolutely, and staff has that at the forefront of our minds in the conversation with these third parties. It's been made explicitly and abundantly clear to them the position that the committee has on where it stands with respect to judicial foreclosure.
Okay, because Commissioner Wright just mentioned Guido, and I don't know Guido. She must know Guido, but I don't know what she means.
I can assure you there are no Guidos in the conversation.
I believe staff will be able to provide information on Wednesday at our Admin and Finance Committee meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your question, Supervisor.
Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, using our system, we have the City of Murrieta has moved the item. Seconded by the City of Wildemar. Please vote. Motion passed 22-0.
Thank you very much.
Our second item is a presentation on the Morongo Band of Mission Indians by their chairman, Robert Martin.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. It's always a pleasure for me to talk about the tribe and what we've done over the years, especially the last 20 years at Morongo, and Banning as well. Banning is, I grew up there, went out to all the public schools, and I think it's a great place to raise your family. For those of you that maybe don't know too much about us, there's about 1,100 members. We sit on approximately 37,000 acres on both sides of Interstate 10, just before you get to Palm Springs. And we have approximately 1,200 residents on the res. Next, please. We're much like a city. We have all these departments, public safety, fire, public works, education, environmental protection, realty, and healthcare are some of our departments. Our school is an accredited school for the kids. It's a preparatory school for college. But you know what we're finding? Our kids are like kids anywhere else. Some score well, others don't. But that's just what they are. It's not, you can't throw any amount of money at that and change too much. But we're getting more kids graduating high school, more going to college. We have more lawyers in the tribe. We've got a couple of doctors. So over these last 20 years, things have really changed at Morongo. Next. These are some of our businesses that we've done really in the last 5 years. The In-N-Out, first one done on a reservation. Hadley's we've owned for several years. Starbucks, we're one of the first on a reservation as well. The Travel Center was originally built by the tribe in Shell Oil, but is now, we bought them out and we run and operate that very well. Ruby's, a California corporation came out. Another one's the first. A lot of times I'll be talking, and it's the first that we're doing in Indian country across the country. Just tribes usually are located out in the hinterlands where they're not ever going to really do well. And that's one of the biggest problems, I think, on most reservations is jobs, and they just don't have the infrastructure for it. Panda Express and Taco Bell. And the First Californian is a credit union that started out a conversation that I had with our past chair probably about 10 years ago. We had members that had a hard time cashing checks, had a hard time getting credit because we're on a reservation, so they couldn't. You can't put the property up. It's held in trust by the federal government. So when you want to build a house, it's very difficult to get a loan for that. So we started this credit union, which took us several years. The original concept was we'd start a bank, but the credit union would seem to be better for our needs. Next. Mutual aid. I was just talking about that earlier. Since June, the Morongo firefighters have spent nearly 2,000 hours battling fires across California. The Manzanita fire was 6,300 acres. Detwiller fire, Mariposa County, 81,000 acres. Tubbs fire, Napa County, and the Wildemar fire, we all sent crews up to help in those fires. Next. This is some of the community outreach that we do every year. The turkey is not just a turkey. We do a full meal, and we do that every Thanksgiving. And the one here to the right, to my right, with green shirts is another one that we do that's for kids in the area, lower income kids. Some of the kids that Mr. Ashley has gotten one of his programs are part of this. That's a good program. I've gone to it almost every year that we've done this. A couple years ago, I think I was on travel, but I try to go to every one of these. I've seen the kids go through as little guys, 5, 6 years old, and then they graduate out of the program. Next. 2018 beyond. You can see this is the footprint of the casino. I'd like to talk about that just briefly. Years ago, this used to be a cattle pasture. That's where my dad and I had cattle. And many days we would be down there getting our cattle off and moving them. And today it's got this huge development out there. So things that have happened at Morongo very quickly. Jersey Mike's, Chipotle are a couple of the programs or projects that are just on the horizon. Probably should be started and done this year. And the Riverside University Health System that we're going to be proud to be part of. Next. That's the presentation. Any questions I can answer, I'll definitely do that.
Do we have any questions for Chairman Martin?
Well, thank you. I enjoyed this.
Thank you. Yes.
I just want to thank the chairman. He presented a lot of the programming that the Morongo tribe is responsible for that brings positive things to the community. But I do want to say that, I run a program every year, Shop with a Cop, and Morongo has been a very willing participant the last few years, and I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for the community, Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Ashley?
Thank you. I just wanted to say Morongo has been a wonderful partner for the 5th District and the county as a whole, and they've just been wonderful and very, very outgoing, very generous, and all charitable activities. And they're also what I like about them, they're planning for the future. We're out in the Cabazon area. We're trying to work on in these lifeline bypass roads, and also to bring sewers and transit-driven housing into the area and so forth. And they've been a partner on that, and also they're partnering with the county now on the university health system. We hope to build a medical building and on our campus in Moreno Valley sometime in the near future. We have one with Trammell Crow that's getting ready to break ground soon, and we hope that this one will follow, a badly needed medical facility that will serve the entire county. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I just have to echo also, Morongo's been a good neighbor for the city of Banning and for some of our residents that are not in the city but in the county. They are very good neighbors to work with. We thank you. That wasn't me.
That was me.
Okay, Aaron isn't here for item number 5C, but I do believe we have a slide. Yes, no? Oh, that's it. Any questions? Okay, does anybody have any questions for Aaron? Okay. Okay.
You have that picture in color. I don't think that the legislature can do much damage if they're not working on stuff, so that's a good thing.
Well, she probably, if she were here, she would probably remind us that the division meeting is next Monday on the 13th in Norco. So if you haven't RSVP, to be sure to do so. Kevin, do you want to say anything about it?
We're a little disappointed that we couldn't get Silver Lakes. The Department of Health was late in getting the approval, so we're taking you to our Hidden Valley Golf Course. We have a very good speaker. Again, our apologies. But anytime you want a tour, and I think we're going to try to arrange to have the League of Cities come back sometime next year. This coming weekend, Thanksgiving weekend rather, we have, last year we had the Silver Lakes Cup, had 180 teams, and goodness, we had Harvard and Yale and USC and UCLA all coming out and scouting, and this year we have almost 400 teams coming. So we're pretty excited about all that, and it'll fill Corona, Eastville doesn't have any hotels yet, but soon. And but Corona and Norco are full, and I look forward to showing that place off to you. But I think you'll like the Hidden Valley Golf Course. It's been totally remodeled, and the food is really good. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, item 5D, Public Service Fellowship Activities. Cynthia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Cynthia Mejia. I'm a staff analyst here with the Government Relations Department, and it is my pleasure to provide you an update on the WRCOG Public Service Fellowship Program. As you may recall, in February of 2016, this committee approved the creation of a one-year pilot public service fellowship program to retain local university graduates to fill the area's need for a robust public sector workforce, provide fellows with practical public sector experience, and combat the often mentioned brain drain that Riverside County experiences when local university students leave the region to seek full-time employment elsewhere upon the completion of their bachelor's degree. With the creation of a long-ranging paid internship program, we hope that the program would attract qualified, recently graduate, or current master's students and have them stay in the subregion for at least 9 months, for which they would ideally become invested in the subregion and ultimately secure full-time employment afterwards. The first round of the fellowship program spanned through July 2016 through March 2017 and matched 13 fellows with member agencies. To staff knowledge to date, all Round 1 fellows are gainfully employed today, with at least 8 alumni fellows, including yours truly, now working throughout Western Riverside County. That's about a 60% retention rate for Western Riverside County, something we're deeply proud of. Based on the success of Round 1, WRCOG launched a second round of the program. Currently, Round 2 fellows are in session through March of next year and have been working on a wide range of projects, including policy analysis, legislative research, and project management. Specific projects that our fellows are working on include general plan updates, grant writing, social media content management and creation, and budget research. In addition to the work that fellows are gaining or working on at their placement agencies, WRCOG, in collaboration with UCR and CBU, also convene a monthly networking session in which we hope to supplement the work that they are doing and bring in diverse speakers to talk about their backgrounds and just different careers to the public sector. So recently, we featured city managers. We also brought in the League of California Cities to talk about their work and provide a legislative 101 crash course. We brought in our police and fire chiefs for the city of Riverside, and we also hosted a bus tour of the subregion to provide fellows with a more visual sense of some of the challenges facing local jurisdictions. We also actually met one-on-one with each of the fellows recently over the last month or so to gain a better understanding of what they are interested in and to ensure that the fellowship match is a good match and to ensure that they are enjoying the fellowship program. Over the next few weeks, we will also be meeting one-on-one with each of their supervisors to obtain further feedback on the program. So, members of the committee, today we bring you two requested actions. The first action simply recommends that you allocate $300,000 in agency carryover funds to fund the remainder of the current round currently in session through March of next year. The second requested action recommends the allocation of additional $400,000 of agency carryover funds to continue the program for a third round. If approved for a third round, staff would begin marketing the fellowship to university partners beginning in January of next year. That amount of $400,000 would fully fund one round of up to 25 fellows for the 9-month program. We have discussed this item with both the Administration and Finance Committee and the TAC Committee, and we received overwhelming support for the fellowship program from both groups. We also discussed potentially extending the $400,000 amount in funding over 2 consecutive years, where participating jurisdictions would receive a fellow during one of those years. So we would essentially have 12 fellows placed in a fraction of our member jurisdictions 1 year, and an additional 13 fellows placed at the remaining participating jurisdictions for the following year. One of the main reasons for which we would do this or explore that option is to alleviate a potential pressure to hire a fellow each year. We do realize that that goal might be a little unrealistic for some of our member jurisdictions, but we certainly want to provide that flexibility to you. So our member jurisdictions do have the flexibility to request a fellow for each year. We do have the funding available, so we will definitely defer to our member jurisdictions for the application period. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions the committee may have.
Okay, thank you. City of Riverside?
Just a quick comment. I just wanted to express the City of Riverside's strong support for this program. And my particular ward in the City of Riverside is where CBU is located. So obviously we're very supportive of this program. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Harupa Valley?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I just want to say that we have Michelle Holguin from the fellowship, and she's working very steadfastly with our Healthy Harupa Valley, and she's really doing an awesome job. So I want to commend the fellowship for putting in some viable fellows in there. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
TAC Chair?
It's actually one of the items that I was going to speak of during my presentation. I mean, look at Mrs. Jimenez. I mean, she represents the program so well. It was overwhelming in the room when we discussed it with the TAC committee, and this is a great program. It's a great program, and the fellows that are coming to the city, I mean, they're beyond prepared. I commend you for the incredible job you're doing. Ms. Jimenez doing a great job presenting here as well as presenting to the TAC committee. But, I mean, this is something that we overwhelmingly support. The more fellows, the better, and, you know, let us worry about trying to find them work. But yes, we support this program 100%.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Seeing none, do we have a mover of the motion? City of Lake Elsinore moved the motion, and Moreno Valley seconded it. Please vote.
City of Hemet, please vote. It's not registering.
You called Guido, that's what
Are
happened.
you voting in favor of?
Okay, thanks. Motion passed 20 to 0. Thank you.
It's 21 with the City of Hemet voting positively, yes.
Okay. Next, we'll have a report from our TAC Chair, Alex Diaz.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Executive Committee. On October 19th, we held our TAC committee meeting, and some of the items that we discussed, of course, one was the fellowship program, which once again, it was overwhelming. Everyone woke up when that came up, and Ms. Jimenez presented her report. Item A was the Santa Ana Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System MS4 Permit Compliance Program update. Second item was the Regional Housing Needs Assessment RHNA overview. Item C was with the Western Community Energy Activities update. That was an item that we asked staff to come back with additional information. Following item was the, once again, Public Services Fellowship Activities update. We also discussed the Regional Streetlight Program Activities update. And finally, we received a summary on the visioning session. That is the conclusion of my report and the TAC report. And if the committee has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, do we have any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Do we have any reports from SCAG? I have a few notes to share with you. Sorry I wasn't there, but they did send some information. SCAG is launching its next update of the Regional Transportation Plan and Sustainable Community Strategy and Regional Housing Needs Assessment, we also know as RENA. They'll be engaging with local jurisdictions to establish an accurate picture of existing conditions, including anticipated population, household, employment growth, and local transit supportive measures in the region. And then over the next 8 months, they will be meeting one-on-one with every jurisdiction to review and update the information so that they'll be able to make sure their information is accurate. And the deadline for them to have input for going to SCAG is October the 1st of 2018. This month, SCAG is sending city managers and planning directors the core data package for local review, along with a detailed work plan with instructions on how to provide the input. And to offset the burden to staff, SCAG is offering interns to serve in local jurisdictions for up to 2 weeks. Finalized data sets will be used to deliver potential scenarios for the 2020 RTP SCS and will inform the final RENA housing numbers. Elected officials can assist by supporting staff's involvement in ensuring accurate data and fair outcomes throughout the final RTP, SCS, and 6th cycle RENA. And if you have any questions on this, there is more information starting on page 221 in your packets. Do we have anything from AQMD?
Sure. One is we passed a refinery rule. Sorry, not refinery, refiners. This is the an odor rule for people that take basically animal carcasses and boil them down. It's a really neat process in the city of Vernon. If you've ever been to the city of Vernon and smelled something, that's what it is. It's their rendering. And there's been some horrible odors coming out of that area for a long time, and a community that has been ignored for a long time. And so we passed a rule on that that's moving forward. Gives the businesses about 3 years to catch up with technology that's frankly being used in a lot of the jurisdictions across the country, but not in Vernon. So that's moving forward. Another thing that's hopefully a good news for a lot of us here in our local jurisdictions is for AQMD's had a permit backlog for some time. You might have heard of businesses coming to you and saying, hey, I've tried to get my permit from AQMD, it's taking forever. They were right, and it was bad. And it's been bad for most of the time I've been on the board. We really lit a fire under this about 1.5 years ago, and we've gone from a permit backlog of, we think, somewhere in the neighborhood about, we normally would have about 7,000 to 8,000 permits in the system. The normal amount should be closer to about 3,500. We're down now to about just under 5,000. So we're getting closer to what should be the normal amount and not have a backlog. And this backlog goes as far as we've had businesses come in and tell us, board members, that it's not that I have to wait for a permit to take so long. It's just that when I'm trying to apply for my renewal of my 4-year permit and the other one hasn't cleared yet, it makes it difficult. yeah, that would make it difficult. So we're clearing that up. We've done a lot of work to get that going forward. We've added a lot of staff in the planning and permitting department, and hopefully that's helping out in the communities as we're trying to open businesses. So if you hear any more on that, please let me know. If you have any questions about the rendering rule, also willing to talk about that, but luckily for none of you probably have a renderer. They're all out there in Vernon. So that's it.
Thank you. Brian, do you have anything for Cal Kellogg?
No, Madam Chair. Our next meeting is on the 27th of this month.
Oh, you'll have something next month.
I have something next month.
Thank you. Okay, Canyon Lake?
I do have I'm sorry. I have a short report from the Energy and Environment Committee. Sorry, I have a little raspy throat. It was kind of a short meeting. There was only one presenter there who took about an hour and 15 minutes, but the rest of the time was spent drinking coffee. But we had a presentation by Dr. Hall, the director of climate science at UCLA, and his presentation was on adapting to climate change with a prediction of what's going to take place in probably 30 or 40 years, so I'm not sure any of us will be here to validate what he said, but nevertheless, he briefed us on the implications of a changing climate. Relying on recent studies of regional climate changes in Southern California, he focused on changes in average temperature, extreme heat, wildfires, water resources, sea levels rising. And his report indicates that for all these phenomena, adoption to significant, easy for me to say, significant changes by mid-century will be necessary. And once again, I asked him if there's any way to validate that 50 years from now for any of us, and he wasn't sure about that.
Was he planning to be there?
Pardon me?
Was he planning to be there in 50 years?
Well, I think he might have hopefully planned on being there, yes. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other reports? Seeing none, then we'll go to a report from our Executive Director. That Barbara will do today.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Barbara Spear. Rick apologizes. He'll be back in the office tomorrow. That he couldn't make it here today. I wanted to announce this is our 4th year for our annual holiday LED light exchange. This is a partnership with Southern California Edison and the gas company, run through our REP program, promoting and giving out free LED strands of holiday lights. Residents just need to bring in their electric bill and their working old strand of lights in exchange. Will be at Hemet, Rupa Valley, Lake Elsinore, Menifee, and Moreno Valley each year. It's more popular, and we keep adding cities as we go. So if you're interested in having this next year, please reach out to Tyler and Anthony so that we can get you on the calendar by the end of this year. It fills up fast. Next, I'd like to note our move is really following along on track. We're expected to be over in the Citrus Towers operating on Tuesday, December 18th. Just to let you know, we will probably be out of pocket the majority of the week prior as we are boxing up and moving computers and servers. But we'll all be available via our cell phones and have access to our emails, so please feel free to call Rick as much as you like. If you would like a tour of the facility, please let us know. We're able to get in the afternoons, and if anybody would like to see a sneak peek of the walls that have gone up and everything, it looks great, and we're excited.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any items for future agendas? Any general announcements? Seeing none, then we'll stand adjourned until next month. Thank you.